In terms of portable media, is that another piece of information that can just be picked up from the set-top box?
Yes, essentially yes. I'm absolutely 100% certain that most OZBSS will not be able to handle that easily. But from my point of view, anything the operators think of, or the service providers think of, in terms of very innovative content, new distribution methods, etc., they should be able to be, or they should be supported by the OSS/BSS structure. OSS/BSS should not limit the creativity or the ambitions of the operator. It does now in most cases, because an operator cannot just go mobile TV as well, because it'll take 12 months before it's up and running. So the OSS/BSS now is holding back quite often the operators. That's not the way it should be. It should just be a support function. And anywhere the operator turns to, the OSS/BSS should turn with the operator and should move forward with the operator.
Could that mean tier 3, tier 2 operators, even tier 1, moving the OSS function to the cloud? Is that something that's going to become a trend?
It's being talked about. I'm not sure if it'll happen, for a very simple reason that especially tier 1 and the larger tier 2s, they do not easily step away from what they feel is part of their core business. So although from an IP and even from a business point of view it might make sense, I think, let us say, from a human resource management point of view, it will not make sense for them.
So much of it is just hardwired into those corporations?
Absolutely, it's absolutely hardwired.
In terms of economy, presumably supply over the net is the most efficient way.
Yes, but most efficient doesn't by definition mean that it'll be done that way. But let's be frank. I mean, the telco and broadcast industry has been looking primarily at the technology in the network quite a bit. I mean, the boxes, the whether it's IP or still the ABC or T or whatever, T2, S2, etc. That has taken up obviously a lot of energy, attention, etc. from senior management. So the focus on OSS/BSS is usually a finance, admin, IT kind of thing. You know, throw it over the wall kind of thing. So it's not really that focus yet. It'll have to be. It'll become so.
Where are the hotspots in terms of these operators that you said you like to be able to get everybody around the table?
Well, the operators, which is from my point of view, I might say this, most fun to talk to, are indeed the small and startup operators, the tier 3 and 2s as well, that have the ambition to grow and that have a pressure to do it in 6 months. And they have a senior management which is young and ambitious, and they get people inside which, I sit around the table with guys that are 30-ish. Wow, I'm 49. You know, I mean, I'm almost an old guy over there. Those are the round table discussions that go easily into the right direction.
I suppose the great benefit for you is they may come from broadcast backgrounds rather than telco.
Yes. Although I must say, if there is a telco one involved, it's usually from the sales and marketing point of view, which I always applaud, because sales and marketing guys from the telco side are usually fast thinkers, fast movers. I mean, broadcast is very slow, traditionally very slow, certainly on the sales and marketing point of view. If you compare that to telco, that's a whole different world from a sales and marketing speed point of view. So I always applaud that kind of combination. Sales and marketing with a telco, usually a sharp young guy in a suit. And that, I mean, those people understand what I'm talking about the speed, the time to market, the low total cost of ownership, the flexibility to finance, the flexibility to do reporting, the flexibility to do auditing, because that's what the senior management needs. You know, they usually have shareholders who are pounding on their head. They want to see the return, within a year or even less. So the focus on that kind of information is there.
So where are we talking from a territory point of view? Where does that take you in terms of market?
Oh, absolutely. Let us say Central Europe and Asia, Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia is, of course, a very special market. If you look at margin-wise, price pressure-wise, political stuff that keeps messing things up, of course. I mean, same thing happens in Europe, by the way, but there a little bit more. In Central Europe, certainly, there are quite a few startups which are eager and willing and have a time and money pressure.
When we look at OSS and BSS for content providers and the kind of functionality they're going to want to add, like VOD, what benefits, what extra service can you offer?
Well, there are a couple of functionalities. One very obvious one, if you look at it from a customer care point of view, is a help desk or ticketing function. I mean, the customer care people will get complaints from customers, questions from customers, and you really want to be able to log those and forward those to the relevant people, whether it's finance or the technical guys or your boss. So you really want to have that kind of functionality integrated into your SMS and billing system. A very crucial one from customer care point of view is, of course, that if you get a customer on the line, you should be able to see the relevant information from that customer and not be bothered with all the rest. So what we like to call a customer service overview. Primarily for that one customer, you get on one screen all the relevant data for that customer. I.e., if he lives in a certain city, you don't want to see service issues relating to another city. You only want to see things related to that city or that street even. That kind of functionality you really want to see integrated from a customer care point of view. One thing that's often forgotten but can be supplied quite easily is an inventory system. An inventory meaning you want to keep track of your set-top boxes, how many you have ordered, where they are at your dealer, still at the manufacturer, or whether they are in your own warehouse, or whether they are installed at the customer site, whether it has a defect and has to be sent back. That kind of inventory management. Obviously, the hardware pairing, the chipset pairing, smart card to hardware ID pairing, that's an essential one as well, which shouldn't be forgotten. And that has to be handled by the same system. So those are additional functionalities that we can bring in quite easily. Whether we bring them in, or whether they already have their own inventory system, we integrate with that. That's obviously fine.
And network performance monitoring also integrated into customer care?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. That's what we integrate into the customer service overview, where we get input from the network, so that we get that kind of data. And of course, from a customer care point of view, back office point of view, we do monitor the whole back office IT environment. Obviously, we look at the network, our own IT network. We look at the systems, we look at the hardware, we look at disk space, all the kind of things, obviously. But that's purely IT management stuff. Yeah.
In terms of the level of support that you offer, you have the ability to monitor your integration system remotely for your customer?
Or the other way around, if that's the way they prefer it, yes. Yes, one thing of course we monitor is the amount of messages going around in the OSS BSS environment. I mean, if there are queues that are building up, then you must get an alert of some sort, because that means that one of your OSS BSS or technical system has a problem with working away the messages. So you have to keep track on the queues over there, which is essential if you want to, if you are starting a marketing campaign and you want to sell, well, let's say 100 boxes an hour. You don't really want to end up queuing in your OSS BSS. So
an operator can choose a sort of service level agreement with you in terms of how much monitoring and how much access you have to their system live.
Yep. What we can do, we can take over the control or the operation even. I mean, that's the ability we have. That's all the way up to, let's say, the 100%. And all the way on the other side is purely doing standard maintenance work on the database and having remote access to the system in the data center of the customer, and make sure it keeps up and running and provide some upgrades, updates, etc. Anything in between is possible. And indeed, what you quite often see for the smaller operators, they want us to do more, even towards the ASP service, the remote service, or something in between. I think what you'll see with the smaller operators, medium-sized, is that they would like to start remote as an ASP, and then when their subs number grow, then they like their own system. Also from a finance point of view, then it becomes more interesting, obviously. So you see a a growth there from ASP to own system, or maybe even back again if they change the management structure and they come up with another brilliant plan to change the business, then they might turn around again.
And I mean, obviously dependent some on the sort of SLA, but your basic charging is always related to the number of subscribers on the system.
Yes. The way that it's done, we have a basic fee for an X number of subs, and when it goes beyond the subs, then it's a one-off license per additional number of subs. So that the what we like to do is to say pay as you grow. So you don't pay for the functionality you don't use, and you don't pay for the size of the system you don't use. So when your subs grow, the operator income gets higher, and then the license is slightly higher, one-off.
So once a year you charge a new license fee related to the number of subscribers?
It's a one-off license, full stop.
Okay.
And then for the additional subs, it's a one-off license. Once you reach that mark, certain threshold, then it's a one-off license. And then of course we have our yearly maintenance to be done, to take care of the updates, upgrades, etc. And that's usually a couple of percent, obviously, of the installed base. But we don't charge yearly licenses. No, that's what we dislike very much as an operator, because that's really is dragging you down. Really is terrible to look at that figure each year. And quite frankly, it's not necessary. Because if you have an operator who's nice and active, does new things, you wouldn't need our services anyway. You know, so we'll be there and we'll get our turnover, etc. and our business anyway. They grow, we grow.